Welcome to the Global Home Inspector School Training Program Overview. This is an informational video on how to train to become a home inspector in the great state of Maine. I am Matt Fletcher there on the left. That's me. And I'm a former high school construction trades teacher turned home inspector. I taught a class where we built a real house. And for whatever reason, the school district cut our program. And that's when I decided to become a full-time home inspector. So that was over 20 years ago. I've been a home inspector for a total of 26 years now, full and part-time. And a couple of years ago, I started my own home inspector training course. And it's all online. And this is my presentation to get you to sign up for it instead of someone else's program. Okay, so since you've already started thinking about becoming a home inspector, let's look at some of the benefits of the home inspection business. So there's a low barrier to entry. So unlike an electrician or plumber or an architect, you don't have to study for years to get a license or certified. Training certification varies by state. So in Maine, I checked a mere seconds before starting this video, and as of June of 2026, Maine still does not have a home inspector licensing requirement. So basically anyone can call themselves a home inspector. And it's the same way here in Michigan, where we are. We're in the Detroit area, and there's never been a home inspection law here in Michigan. So it's a low barrier to get into the industry. Low cost as well. So if you've already been in a trade and you've got a truck and some ladders, some tools, and a screw gun, things like that, and probably a home computer to do your books and bills on, that's probably some of the most expensive equipment you will need. You'll also need a plug tester, some good flashlights, a moisture meter, maybe a thermal imaging camera if you want to spend. I think you can get into one for $400 or $500 now, and a drone. A lot of guys will use drones now instead of trying to get on a steep roof, so I would recommend a drone. So how long does it take to get through our program? About 30 days. There's about 30 lessons, and we keep adding more. Um, for instance, we keep adding commercial, what they call ancillaries in the business, commercial building inspections, flat roofs on commercial buildings, um, rest, public restrooms, the ADA requirements for Americans with disabilities. So it'll take you about 30 days to get through it. Earning potential and job security. So as long as people are buying and selling homes, you'll always have work. People only live in a house now an average of 6.5 years before they move. Inspection work cannot be offshored, so it's not going overseas, and it cannot be replaced with AI. Someone's got to get in that crawl space and get in that attic and take pictures and know how to use a flashlight, and robots for doing that are a long way off. Flexible schedule. This is one of the things I liked about it. Most home inspectors are self-employed, giving them control over work hours, number of clients, time off, part and full-time, part-time, full-time. So I've done both. I've done part-time and full-time. When I was teaching construction full-time, I did inspections on the weekends and in the summers because I had the summers off. And when they cut the program, like I said, I started doing it full-time. I'm older now. I'm 63, and I like to take time off and go up northern Michigan fishing, things like that. So it's a flexible schedule. I can take off when I want to. It's a good retirement job. So a lot of guys will try to sell their home inspection business when they get to be my age. I've decided not to do that. I started this school, and I keep doing home inspections because I like the extra income, and it gives me something to do, and I can work part-time doing it. So like I said, I was a high school construction teacher, and this is my class here. My classroom was outdoors. We built a real house. The school district owned the land. They owned the subdivision, basically. I have a master's degree in teaching, by the way, an additional certification to teach construction in the state of Michigan. And we didn't do every single thing on the house ourselves. This is foundation company that's pouring our footings for our basement walls that are going to go in. So the footings get poured, and the basement walls get poured on top of that after the forms are set. So I use a lot of these pictures to explain to you how a house is built. A lot of people come into this industry that have little construction experience. So this helps in teaching them how a house is actually put together and what's going on behind the drywall where they can't see. Here's another one. So this is a basement. I think this is the same house that year. So they poured the footing, and then they poured the basement walls, and they stripped off the forms. And now we're in here doing the plumbing. So that's us doing the underground plumbing work. And then the basement floor gets poured over this. So I use pictures like this again to explain, you know, what's going on where you can't see. Most people like this a lot. A lot of my students tell me they're visual learners, and they're glad that we have all the pictures and the videos and things like that. So here we are framing a floor, same sort of thing. You know, you learn about how a floor is put together, what the rim joist is. You can't see it here, but there's a rim joist. We had two houses going this year. There's one over there and then this one. So things change, okay? Construction practices change over the years. And here we have a concrete contractor, cement contractor, pouring our front porch slab. So this is the house we're building. We framed that. And notice the moisture barrier here between the house and the porch slab. So they didn't always do that. We learn things from older houses as they age, what rots and what doesn't, and what we should be doing, what we weren't doing before, we're going to do in the future. So that's why codes change, and we explain that in the lessons. And here I'm going to show you in the next picture why that moisture barrier is there. Ta-da! So this is a picture I took in a crawl space when I was doing an inspection. So this is the porch slab here, and it was not a covered porch either. So if it's not covered or it's got flat pitch or negative pitch where it slants back toward the house, you'll get water coming in that joint there where the slab meets the house and it rots out. This was the rim joist here, and it's completely gone. There's a couple little holes there. That's probably powder post beetles. Some kind of insect did that because you have rotting wood and they love rotting wood. There's the subfloor. Remember, we had this showed the picture of my students putting the subfloor down, the flooring system we were framing. So that's the subfloor. And you can see it's rotted out too. I don't remember, but there might have been a doorway threshold right here above that was also leaking water. So I go to great lengths to explain to you how things happen and why they happen and where the codes have changed. So you'll learn a lot from this. Here's another one. This is a classic. This is a biggie around here in the Detroit area. So this house is in a crawl space. There's the crawl space entry. You can't tell from this picture, but this is negative grade right here. So in other words, the grade pitches toward the house instead of away. So every time it rains, you know, hundreds of gallons of water come down this downspout and then runs into this crawl space because it's negative grade. It's like a funnel right here. So all the water goes in there. And inside the crawl space, here's what you might see. See all this wood on the ground here? So the water runs in through the opening, comes in here. And they had done some renovation work on this house, so they tore out the subfloor, the flooring system, and replaced it. And they let the debris fall down into the crawl space, which is a no-no. They should have cleaned that up, but they didn't. And now you've got wood laying on wet ground, water pouring in, and it rots and attracts more wood destroying insects. So the bugs, I think they smell the rotting wood and they're attracted to it, and then they come in there and start eating it. And when they get done with that, they start eating your house. You get in your flooring system and start eating that. So this crawl space has a lot of moisture issues. You can see that the ground is wet. You can see that the wood's wet here. There's no vapor barrier or visqueen on the ground. There's wires dangling down, the cable wire over here. So all this is defect for an inspection report. And you'll learn how to do that. You'll learn how to spot these things and put them in your report. and make your customers happy. So you already know who I am, but I'm not the only person involved in this. We have another instructor. His name is Dr. Joe Vaglica, Vaglica, if you want to look him up. That's Joe there. So Joe, I met Joe taking classes at the community college here. I was taking some construction courses, and we started talking. We said, "Hey, let's start doing some inspection work together," because he, did that sort of thing too. And we started doing big commercial buildings together, and I would refer him business when people needed a structural engineer, as a reference. So that's how I met Joe. So Joe's taught at Macomb Community College, University of Detroit, and Wayne State University. And Joe's actually the chair of the construction management program at Wayne State. He helped develop the program. They didn't have a construction management program, and Joe had gotten his undergraduate degree there. And they came to him and said, "Hey, we know you're in the construction business. How about helping us develop a construction management program?" So Joe did that, and now he teaches several of the courses, and he's the chair. So between Joe and I, we've got a lot of knowledge and background in construction, and that comes across in our lessons because they're very comprehensive. So Joe isn't just a professor who only teaches. He also owns Gateway Engineering in Shelby Township. Like I said, Google him if you want. And he's out in the field doing structural inspections. And this is actually a subdivision he developed. So he and his partner got the land. Joe subdivided it because they also do surveying. Joe designed the road that went in there and the sewer system that's underneath the road. So that's who your instructors are. Let me tell you a little bit more about our program here. So not only do you receive home inspection training, you also get lessons on how to inspect small and medium-sized commercial buildings. This includes separate lessons on flat roofs, restrooms, and parking lots. Now, other organizations charge, I've seen prices from $1,500 to $4,000 to train you to do commercial inspections, and it's usually a 3 or 4 day class. Um, but we have lessons on that, and it's included in our curriculum at no extra charge. So this is a restaurant. That previous picture was a restaurant. This is the same building as a restaurant. So you can see it's got a flat roof. They have unique issues, like see these sinkholes here. They don't drain real well all the time, and the water sits there in these little bellies, and then the roof leaks a little bit, and it starts to rot the substrate, whether it be corrugated metal or plywood or whatever it is, and start to have issues. The heating and cooling system is on the roof many times of these commercial buildings. So that's a combo unit. That's air conditioning and heating right there, that unit. So you learn about that. This was a restaurant, so there's this big exhaust fans for the kitchens. So you will learn about that. Parking lots. So like I said, we have a separate lesson on parking lots, how to inspect one. You can see the asphalt pavement is broken up a little bit over here. Teach you about that. It's got drainage, so it drains. Not all of them do, and they flood. Directional arrows and parking stripes for people to park, and parking curbs or bumpers. They have different names in different areas. Bollards, these are called bollards, which is basically a steel pipe filled with concrete, and they're to protect this gas meter in this situation here. So you learn all about that, how many handicap spaces are required. There's one of the commercial bathrooms I was talking about, or ADA Americans with Disabilities Act bathroom. So it's got to have a doorway that's at least 36 inches wide, as we show here, and then a turning radius for a wheelchair inside. Yeah, grab bars. The sink's got to be a certain height for ADA. So you learn about that. Sewer scopes. So sewer scopes have become a pretty standard part of home inspection and commercial building inspections. So we thought, well, why not include sewer scope inspection lessons? Sewer scopes can add 15, 20, 25, maybe even $30,000 to your bottom line each year, guys. And You can get into a decent sewer camera now for less than $1,000. I just bought one called a Vevor, Vevor, and my previous camera was a Rigid, and it. I paid 3,600 for it. Now it's 5 grand. So I go, oh, that's getting to be too much money because it's broken. My Rigid camera broke for the third time, and I thought, well, I'm going to try one of these cheaper cameras. And I read about them online. They got pretty good reviews, and I ran into a plumber that had one. He liked his, so I'm like, okay, let's give that a try. So you can get it to a sewer camera, a Vevor for mine was 500 bucks. You can pay more if you want, but I got a 164 foot one, which is really all you need most of the 99% of the time. And around here we charge $150 for a sewer scope with the home inspection. So the home inspections start at, usually about 400 to 450, depending on what the house has. So combine that with a sewer scope and you're getting $600 per inspection. And I usually do one a day because I'm older now, but I've done as many as three of inspections in a day. But you can do two and get the reports done in one day. It'll be a long day, but you can do two inspections and do two reports in one day. So in the busy season, you can make, $1,200 a day. It's not unusual. Then here in Michigan, to be honest with you, when the weather hits, the snow, there's a foot of snow on the ground, business drops off drastically. So that's just the way it is. So yeah, we include sewer scope training in the course. And now check around. I'm not lying to you. Other organizations charge $500 to do sewer scopes. We don't charge anything for ours. It's included in the program. Um, we discuss not only how to do the sewer scopes in the lesson, and there's I think 15 videos, but we also talk about how to market the service. And like for instance, when I first got my first sewer camera, I did them for free, just to let the realtors know that I had a camera, and I would tell them, hey, I'm doing them for free right now. And that makes their life easier because now they don't have to coordinate with a separate company to do a sewer scope. So, and realtors will refer you business just because you have that sewer camera because it makes their life easier. Okay. So check around. I'm not lying to you about that. See how much the prices are for sewer scope training. And we also cover health issues in sewer scope training too, because you can get diseases from sewer water. Hepatitis is a big one. So we teach you what precautions to take, safety measures. So let's take a look at our website here. So we are licensed post-secondary proprietary school in the state of Michigan. This is our inspection training website. You may have already seen it if you've been researching us. So on the top left is a blue button where you enroll in the program. It says enroll now. You put your credit card information in there. On the right is a drop-down menu. So it says student access. So after you put your credit card stuff in, you get student access, and there's a drop-down menu, like I said, and there says my courses. You can start taking your courses that you want to take. And this is what the course page looks like. So it says course introduction. So basically it tells you things like, hey, look, we're not here to trick you. Important points are bolded. So if something's bolded, you probably should write it down. You're going to be tested on it. We repeat things that are important. So when you go to teacher school, like I did, um, they teach you how to teach, right? So they tell you that students need 3 exposures to a concept before they will begin to retain it. So 3 exposures to a subject or a concept might be the teacher lecturing on it. That's one. Visuals, you show them. That's two. You have them do a lab. That's three. Work on it. You can have them write about it and write a paper or an essay question on a test. That's a fourth exposure. So we do that. We practice that in our curriculum. We repeat things over and over. The important things to drill it into your head. So for instance, water. Water comes up in a lot of our lessons. Water does more damage to a building than anything except maybe fire. And so we bring up water issues a lot. And so after course introduction, then the lessons are pretty much in alphabetical order. The all the commercial lessons are at the end, and I think the sewer scope's at the end too. But everything else like roof, attic, living spaces, basement, and all that, that's in alphabetical order. And you can do them in any order you want. So here's some of the questions. So pretty what you're used to in school. This is the commercial roof inspection quiz. It says you need an 85 to pass this quiz. So um, there's a question there. It's a true and false question. Then there's some multiple choice questions as well. And then there's a couple essay questions at the end. Oh, this is something called hotspots that we got with our education software. So this is a sump pit, in case you don't recognize it. There's the pit and there's the pump there. This is the main pump, and that's a water siphon backup pump. So the hotspots, we tell you, okay, you need to be able to recognize this when you're out doing inspection. So this will be toward the end of the lesson after we taught you all of this. So it'll say, do you know what this is? And this blue dot. So this is the backup pump. So if you don't know what it is, you click on it and it'll tell you the answer. It's the backup pump. This is the backflow preventer over here. This is the water supply because it's a water siphon backup pump. This is the pit itself. That's the float. That's the electrical supply for the main pump. So a lot of people like the hotspots. It's a good learning device. So let's take a look at the essay question. So at the end of the lesson, there's a couple, there's a test, there's some true and false multiple choice and a couple essay questions. So the first essay question is a gimme, okay? You get credit for it just by answering. So the first essay question basically says, hey, what'd you think of the lesson? What do you think we could do to improve it? You know, did we overlook anything, sort of thing? And all you got to do is answer. All you got to do is say, well, I thought it was fine the way it was, and you get credit. Or you could say, well, you should have done this, that, and that. So, well, either way, you get credit. So it's a bonus point. And then the other question, the final question, is so this one was about roofs. So it says, if you can't see it, I'll read it to you. Using the information in this lesson, write a few paragraphs on how you would go about inspecting a roof. Explain what types of things you would be looking for. Your answer could also, in your you could also make a checklist as part of your answer. So you could do that. So that's what this guy did. This guy was a really good student. He went through our program really quickly, even though he's working a full-time construction job. So he says, basically, he just repeats back to us what he learned in the lesson, and that's what we're looking for. I would turn on any ventilation that was venting through the roof. So we tell him in the lesson, hey, if there's a bathroom fan in the house or a laundry exhaust for the dryer going through the roof, turn those on before you go get up on the roof and make sure there's air coming out to make sure they're connected, because they could be disconnected inside the wall or somewhere in the attic where they're buried in insulation. So that's just one of the tricks of the home inspector certification. We teach all the tricks. We've been doing this a long time. We know all the tricks. Then he says I would further take pictures from many different angles. You know, we taught him all that. So he went on for 4 or 5 short little paragraphs here just to cover all the points from the lesson. So that's what we're looking for. Pretty straightforward. And this gives you practice writing because if you're going to be a home inspector, you have to write reports. So you need practice writing, and a lot of you guys in the trades um, have not written anything since you were in high school or college courses. So you need practice writing. So that's what this is to do. It's to reinforce the concepts that you learned and to practice your writing. So we spent a lot of time on the curriculum. We're pretty proud of it. We think it's pretty comprehensive, Joe and I. So look at this shirt here. The road to success is always under construction. I took this picture. It was a shed building contest that I was a judge at. And this group of kids from a certain school showed up wearing those shirts, and I thought they were the coolest thing. And I'm going to get me some shirts made like that. But this is our website here, globalinspectionschool.com, globalinspectionschool.com. So go there if you want to sign up. And the theme here is, if you want to up your skills, if you want to stay in the construction industry, you might need to learn new things, and being a home inspector might be one of them. And so if you want to make more money and kind of move up a little bit and do different things, you need to learn new things. So that's why the road to success is always under construction. All right, let's do a little review here and wrap it up. You get a complete home inspection course from foundation to roof with us. You get lessons on small and medium-sized commercial buildings, so you'll know how to do that. We include sewer scope training. So remember I said commercial inspections companies are charging. I've seen prices from $1,500 to $4,000. I really have. Sewer scope training, used about $500. You're getting two very highly qualified instructors here, all for $450. And the reason we're cheaper is because, some of these other schools have been around for 20 years and we've only been around for a couple of years. So that's why we're trying to get established. So to do that, the same way I started my home inspection business, I said, I'll do it for less and I'll do a better job. So that's what we're doing here with this school. Do it for less and do a better job. Okay, you can sign up today if you want, if you've been overwhelmed by my presentation, or if you want, you can call and ask questions. There's our phone number there, 313-510-0284. Be glad to answer any questions. You can email us. We use Gmail because we're still in the inspection business and we have to send very big files sometimes, and Gmail allows us to do that. So all our emails are Gmails. So you can email us at globalinspectionschool@gmail.com, globalinspectionschool@gmail.com, if you'd rather send us a note. So thank you for watching, and we hope to hear from you and have you as a student. Have a nice day. Bye.